Welcome to part 20 of this video series. Today I'm going to be discussing keeping pets aboard your small liveaboard boat. And a special thank you to those who have already subscribed to this channel. And thank you so much for supporting the creation of this video series. If you haven't done so already, then please remember to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future videos in this series. Having a pet on board can be a great source of companionship, or maybe you already have a pet that you love and don't want to lose when you move aboard. Whatever the reason, a lot of people love having their pets on board their boat. The first thing I'm going to mention is the fact I'm not going to include fish as a pet in this video. Fish to me are more of just a decoration than a pet, and their aquariums add a lot of weight above the waterline where you don't want it. If you want to go see fish, buy some goggles and flippers and go swimming. If you live in a marina full time and you have a lifestyle similar to someone who lives on shore, then you won't find there's a lot of differences between having a pet on board. For example, having a dog is the same on the boat as it is in a small apartment. In fact, I'm going to start with dogs and then move on to cats and other pets further on in this video. Okay, so with dogs, if you live full-time in a single marina, you will still have to take him for a walk to do his business, find a place for him to sleep if he doesn't sleep with you, that is. The only big difference you're going to find is finding a place to store the stuff that comes with your dogs. For example, if you have to keep a cage or a carrier for the dog, you're going to need a place to store that. A large dog that eats a lot of food needs large bags of dog food, and that can be quite bulky. Plus, you have the added problem of keeping the food dry. The air on the boat can be quite humid, causing problems with dry dog food. The obvious solution to this is to find a large container that seals well to store it in. You'll see that very commonly a 5-gallon pail with a screw-on lid is very popular. A trick an old salt had taught me was he kept a mesh bag full of rice with his food. The rice is non-toxic and very good at absorbing moisture out of the air. The other issue with having a pet like a dog on board is there's always a lot of activity close to your boat, people walking the docks, boats coming in and out, etc. Now, a lot of dogs like to protect their home by barking, and this can be more than just a nuisance for you and your neighbors. It can lead to you being evicted from the marina. Having a dog on board that barks really cannot be tolerated. I even saw a marina turn a transient boat away that was just trying to stop for fuel because the dog wouldn't stop barking. Now, there's many techniques to train your dog to stop barking, no matter how old he is, and there's lots of devices now in the market to help train your dog. Now, if you're the type of person who doesn't just stay at one marina, and you travel a lot or even full time, you have a whole new set of problems that you need to be worked out. One of the biggest is how to get your dog to shore, not just to do his business, but also for walks and exercise. A lot of boaters will take their dogs to shore either by pulling into a marina or taking the dog on a dinghy. However, not all dogs take to riding in a dinghy. Some just naturally enjoy it, and some are always trying to jump out. I knew someone who couldn't get his dog into a dinghy at all, but he would happily swim alongside it. This worked well when he was going to the beach, but when he went to a dock, he had a tough time trying to get the dog out of the water. Plus, whenever the dog would get to shore, he would shake himself out and soak his owner. This, of course, is more of an issue with larger dogs. Small dogs can be secured inside the dinghy or carried, and sometimes just running from one end of the boat is enough exercise for them. Although speaking of exercise, dogs of all types need exercise, although some breeds need a lot more than others. For example, bulldogs are very docile, while German shepherds require a lot of exercise. And then there's puppies. That's a whole nother story. They always require a lot of exercise and monitoring. As much as they can be cute, they can also get into a lot of trouble. The advantage, however, of a puppy is they can be trained for the liveaboard lifestyle from very young. One way you can get them some exercise is swimming. This is an excellent form of exercise, but you have to have some method set up ahead of time of getting them back into the boat. They do sell steps for dogs to get back on board themselves, and there are slings and many do-it-yourself ideas. One thing, however, I will stress is that you don't let your dog jump in and swim whenever he wants to. I heard a story about a boater who let his dog swim whenever he wanted to. He spent all his time in a quiet little anchorage, so it wasn't a very big deal. One day he decided to go for a cruise, and the dog decided to go for a morning swim. Well, he was anchored in a river with an extremely strong current, and, well, I don't need to tell you the rest of this really sad story. Oh, but that does remind me, yes, most dogs can swim, but not for really, really long times, especially not in strong current or in waves. Even waves that seem small to us can be large to a small dog. If your dog has a chance of going overboard, or if you have him swimming somewhere where he can get a distance from the boat, put a dog life jacket on him. It's not a chance you want to take. Plus, most dog life jackets have a handle on the back, making it easier to bring your pet back on board. Okay, now back to the business of where to do their business. As I mentioned before, the most common is just to take them to shore, but what if you can't, or you're looking for a better solution? Well, I have heard of some dogs being trained to literally go off the side of the boat or go while they're swimming. I would imagine this would take a great deal of training, and this simply won't work for everybody. If it's a smaller dog, there are special pads with fake grass that you can set on the deck and train your dog to use. I have seen people attach a small rope to these and wash them overboard, but these rarely work for larger dogs. I think the most common thing done by people in this situation is just to train them to go on the deck and wash it off before it dries. They either use a washdown system, you can get them built in or portable, or a bucket with a rope attached so you can just throw it overboard and bring water up. Now with all pets, whether they be dogs, cats, rodents, etc., if you plan on crossing a national border, you will need to have all their shots and have all their papers. Some borders are beyond strict when it comes to trying to cross with a pet, and sometimes expect the time it takes to cross to be quite lengthy. You should always have your animal registered and chipped. Not only does this sometimes help at the border, but it's just a good idea all around. Unlike in a house, it's a lot easier for them to escape and run away. And if you're away from home, then finding them again can be a lot tougher. Remember, new ports, new things for them to want to go and explore. Now, cats can be a lot easier to keep on board than dogs, but dogs can give a level of security that cats can't. Cats don't need to be taken ashore to do their business, but you do have to have a place for their litter, and you're going to want it to be an enclosed litter box with a good quality litter to control the smell. Remember, you're going to be sleeping close to it. Although if you're at an anchor most of the time, you can put the litter in the cockpit at night. I wouldn't do this in a marina. It would be too easy for them to wander off. And please, if you're the type who in a regular house would let your cat wander around the neighborhood at night, please don't do this in a marina. A lot of boat owners are less than happy with the idea of your cat walking around on their boat at night. And just like dogs, if you have a cat that meows all the time, especially at night, find a way to train him to stop. You don't want to be evicted from the marina because of something like that. I'm told bunnies on board are basically the same as cats, but I don't have any personal experience with them. If you want to know more, let me know in the comments and I'll find out for you. One more thing I just want to mention when it comes to cats. If they sharpen their claws on your furniture or your custom mattress, it can be really, really expensive. Now, if you can train your cat not to do this, great. But if not, then make humane cappings that attach to their claws. This makes it so they can't scratch anything. Now, rodents can be the easiest solution. And by rodents, I mean like hamsters, rats, guinea pigs, etc. I have seen pictures of liveaboards who have very, very elaborate cages for them with tunnels running all around the boat. But you do have to remember, if you're crossing borders again, rodents need the same papers as any other pet. Yes, they don't go to shore, but the authorities have to think about what if yours sneaks away and gets off the boat. The last pet I'm briefly going to talk about is birds. These can require a large amount of space in a small liveaboard boat, but some people make it work. Some species, especially exotic birds, don't do well with any kind of draft. So unless you stay permanently someplace tropical, or you never open your hatches, avoid the exotic species. Personally, I believe that if I want to hear birds, I'll just open a port. Very few anchorages and marinas don't have any around. Ask any boater when it comes time to clean off his deck if there's birds around. In closing, whether you get a Great Dane or a hamster, you just need to figure out the logistics and the training to be able to keep them aboard. Do your research and look at all the different options and figure out what works best for you. If I missed anything, or if you have any thoughts or ideas about this subject or any ideas for future subjects that I have not covered, please let me know in the comments below. I absolutely love hearing from you. Thank you again for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video series on living aboard a small boat. If you have, then please subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. Also, I included links to the past videos in the description below. Thank you.